The Alabama sun beats down on rows of AH-64 Apache helicopters sitting idle on the tarmac. Maintenance crews swarm around one particular bird, tools in hand, frustration evident on their faces. Colonel James Mitchell, 50s, salt and pepper hair, weathered face, stands before a whiteboard covered in technical diagrams and crossed-out solutions. Around him sit a dozen engineers and maintenance chiefs, all looking exhausted. Colonel Mitchell, rubbing his temples. Run it by me one more time. Slowly. Chief Warrant Officer Davis, 40s, grease-stained uniform, steps forward with a tablet. CWO Davis, sir, we've got 3 Apaches experiencing the same intermittent failure. The targeting system loses calibration mid-flight. No warning, no pattern. It just drops. Colonel Mitchell, and you've replaced? CWO Davis, everything. The TADS, Target Acquisition Designation Site. The PNVS, Pilot Night Vision Sensor. We've swapped the entire fire control computer. Twice. Run every diagnostic Boeing has in the manual. Dr. Sarah Chun, 30s, civilian contractor. Boeing insignia on her polo shirt, interjects. Dr. Chun, Colonel, we've even brought in equipment from the depot in Corpus Christi. The systems test perfect on the ground. But the moment these birds hit operational altitude and maneuvers, the calibration drifts by up to 15 mils. That's enough to miss a target by 50 meters at 2 kilometers. Colonel Mitchell, 50 meters. So we're putting pilots in the field with a $60 million helicopter that can't hit what they're aiming at. Silence fills the room. Major Peterson, 35, crisp uniform, tablet in hand, speaks up. Major Peterson, sir, we've grounded the entire squadron. That's 12 birds. The 3rd Battalion can't deploy to the exercise in 3 weeks. And if we can't figure this out, Colonel Mitchell, I know what it means. Major, it means we've got a fleet-wide problem, and the brass is breathing down my neck. It means Congress is asking questions about why we spent billions on helicopters that don't work. He turns back to the whiteboard, staring at the maze of technical jargon. Colonel Mitchell, ONT'd. There has to be something we're missing. Something obvious. CWO Davis, sir, with respect, we've had 12 senior maintenance officers, 6 Boeing engineers, and 2 teams from AMCOM looking at this for 6 weeks. If there was something obvious, we'd have found it. The colonel's phone buzzes. He glances at it, frowns. Colonel Mitchell, the division commander, wants a brief in 2 hours. What do I tell him? No one answers. Colonel Mitchell, so indeed. Quietly, get back to work. Find me something. Mitchell sits alone, scrolling through files on his computer. He's looking at personnel records, technical reports, anything that might spark an idea. He pauses on an old photograph in his office, a group shot from Iraq 2007. He zooms in on one face, a younger woman in flight gear, standing beside an Apache, arms crossed, slight smile. He picks up his phone, dials. Colonel Mitchell, into phone? Yeah. Sergeant Major. I need you to track someone down for me. Retired. Chief Warrant Officer 5. Yes, CW5. Last name Rodriguez. First name Elena. He listens. Colonel Mitchell, ONT'd. I don't care if she's been out for 8 years. Find her. A weathered helicopter, a civilian Bell 407, touches down on a private pad. Elena Rodriguez, 48, olive skin, dark hair pulled back, lean and confident, kills the engine and climbs out. She's wearing jeans, a faded Army aviation hoodie, and sunglasses. She grabs her flight bag and walks toward a small office building. Her phone rings. She doesn't recognize the number but answers anyway. Elena Rodriguez. Colonel Mitchell, VO. Filtered through phone. CW5 Rodriguez? This is Colonel James Mitchell, Fort Rucker. Elena stops walking. Elena, carefully, Colonel. Been a long time. I'm retired, sir. 8 years now. Colonel Mitchell, VO. I know. I need your help. Elena, dry laugh, sir. I fly medical transports and do mountain rescues now. If you need someone to pull a hiker off a cliff, I'm your woman. If this is about coming back to active duty, Colonel Mitchell, VO, it's about the Apache. We've got a problem no one can solve. And I remember Iraq. I remember you were the one who figured out the hydraulic issue when everyone else wanted to scrap the bird. Elena pauses, memories flashing across her face. Elena, that was different. That was field maintenance, improvised repairs. You've got an entire depot now. Colonel Mitchell, VO, and they're stumped. Elena, I've got 12 birds grounded. A squadron that can't deploy. And I've got a feeling this is something that needs someone who actually flew combat missions in these things, not just read the manual. Elena sighs. What's the problem? Colonel Mitchell, VO, intermittent targeting system failure. Mid-flight calibration drift. Elena's expression changes. Some kind of maneuvers. Elena, Colonel Mitchell, VO. Excuse me? Elena, what maneuvers are they running when it fails? Colonel Mitchell, VO. Pause. I'd have to check the flight logs. Why? Elena, because I might know what your problem is. And if I'm right, your engineers are looking in the wrong place. Elena walks into the hangar in civilian clothes, a visitor badge clipped to her jacket. She's carrying a worn flight bag. The maintenance crews look up, curious. Colonel Mitchell approaches with CWO Davis. Colonel Mitchell, CW5 Rodriguez. Welcome back to Fort Rucker. Elena, shaking hands, Colonel. Though it's just Ms. Rodriguez now. CWO Davis, ma'am. I'm Chief Davis. I manage maintenance operations for the squadron. The Colonel said you might have some insights? Elena, maybe. Show me the birds. And I need to see the flight logs, specifically the attitude and maneuver data when the failures occurred. Elena sits in the front seat, the co-pilot/gunner position, running her hands over the controls like she's greeting an old friend. CWO Davis sits in the back with a tablet. Dr. Chun stands outside, watching through the canopy. Elena, talk me through a typical failure sequence. CWO Davis, reading from tablet, Flight 217, 2 weeks ago. Aircraft was in a left-hand orbit, approximately 800 feet AGL, 15-degree bank. Pilot was tracking a ground target when the TADS lost calibration. Drifted 7 mils right, 12 mils low. Elena, environmental conditions? CWO Davis, temperature 94 degrees. Humidity 68%. Some thermal turbulence but nothing unusual. Elena, and the pilot recovered how? CWO Davis canceled the engagement, returned to base. We tested the system on the ground, perfect. Sent it back up the next day, same issue within 20 minutes. Elena closes her eyes, thinking. Her hands move unconsciously, mimicking control inputs. Elena, what about vibration? Specific frequencies during the maneuver? CWO Davis, we checked the dampers. All within spec. Elena, opening her eyes, you checked the dampers. Did you check the mounting interface between the TADS assembly and the airframe? CWO Davis, the mounting interface? Ma'am, that's just bolts and brackets. That's not a calibration issue. Elena, climbing out of the cockpit, show me the maintenance records. Specifically, when were these birds last underwent fuselage repairs or panel replacements? Elena spreads 3 maintenance jackets across a table. She's scanning pages rapidly, marking things with a highlighter. Elena, tapping a page, this bird. Tail number 741. Panel replacement, left side, 6 months ago. After a hard landing incident. She flips to another jacket. Elena, so indeed, this one. Tail 755. Fuselage stress inspection and repair, 8 months ago. Dr. Chun, leaning in. You think the repairs are the common factor? Elena, I think the repairs changed something subtle. Something that doesn't show up in static tests but creates a harmonic vibration during specific maneuvers. Colonel Mitchell, harmonic vibration? Elena, turning to face him. The Apache is a flying orchestra. Colonel. Every component has a resonant frequency. The rotors, the transmission, the engines, they all vibrate at specific frequencies. When everything is properly balanced and mounted, these vibrations cancel each other out or stay within acceptable ranges. But if something changes, even slightly, you can create a harmonic that amplifies at certain flight regimes. CWO Davis, and you think this harmonic is affecting the targeting system? Elena, the TADS is incredibly sensitive. It has to be, It's stabilizing a targeting image while the aircraft is maneuvering. But it's mounted to the airframe. If the airframe is vibrating at just the right frequency, it could cause the gyros in the TADS to drift. Not enough to trigger a fault warning, but enough to throw off calibration. Dr. Chun, but we've measured vibration across the entire flight envelope. We didn't see anything abnormal. Elena, did you measure it at the TADS mounting points specifically? During dynamic maneuvers? With the full combat load? Dr. Chun and CWO Davis exchange glances. CWO Davis, slowly, no. We measured at standard inspection points. And we did most of our tests without ordnance to reduce variables. Elena, that's your problem. The weight distribution matters. The ordnance changes the harmonic profile. And those mounting points, if they were reinstalled even slightly off-spec after the repairs, you've created a vibration pathway directly into your targeting system. Colonel Mitchell, how do we test this theory? Elena, we need to put accelerometers directly on the TADS mounting bracket and the surrounding airframe. Then we fly the mission profile where the failures occurred with a full combat load. If I'm right, we'll see a vibration spike that corresponds to the calibration drift. Elena walks toward an Apache in full flight gear borrowed from the squadron. She's carrying a helmet bag. Behind her, technicians are installing specialized sensors on the aircraft. I'll be your pilot
Major
today.
Peterson approaches.
Colonel Mitchell said you wanted to fly the test yourself? I'm Elena, grinning. It's been 8 years, but I still remember which buttons to push. Besides, I know exactly what maneuvers we need to run. Major Peterson, impressed. CW5 Davis told me about your service record. For deployments, over 1,200 combat hours. Distinguished Flying Cross. Elena, modest, ancient history, Major. Let's go see if this old dog can still hunt. The Apache climbs through Alabama airspace. Elena's hands move across the controls with muscle memory, her eyes scanning the displays. Elena, over intercom, okay, Major, we're going to run a series of orbiting patterns, left hand, right hand, various bank angles. I want to recreate the exact conditions from the failure logs. Major Peterson, roger that. Beginning left-hand orbit, 15-degree bank. The aircraft banks smoothly. Elena watches her displays intently, especially the vibration data streaming in from the sensors. Elena, steady. Steady. There. She taps the screen. A graph shows a sharp spike in vibration at a specific frequency. Elena, though-indeed, we've got a resonance at 47 Hz. Right at the TADS mounting point. And look, the calibration is starting to drift. Major Peterson confirmed. I'm seeing it on my display too. 2 mils right drift. Elena, now roll out and try a right-hand orbit, same parameters. The aircraft reverses its turn. Elena, so indeed, vibration drops. Calibration stabilizes. It's asymmetric. Whatever is loose or misaligned, it's on the left side of the aircraft. Major Peterson, I'll be damned. You nailed it. Elena stands before a projection screen showing the vibration data. The room is packed. All the engineers, maintenance chiefs, and Colonel Mitchell. Elena, the data is clear. During left-hand orbits with a combat load, we're generating a 47 Hz harmonic at the TADS mounting interface. This frequency is within the sensitivity range of the targeting system's stabilization gyros. Over time, even just minutes, it causes calibration drift. Dr. Chun, but why only these 3 aircraft? Elena, because these 3 all had recent fuselage work. And when we pulled the maintenance records with a fine-tooth comb, we found something interesting. CWO Davis puts up a new slide, detailed photos of mounting brackets. CWO Davis, when these aircraft were repaired, the TADS assembly was removed and reinstalled. Standard procedure. But the torque specifications for the mounting bolts were updated in a technical bulletin 3 years ago. The older spec, which these birds were built with, called for 35 foot-pounds. The new spec calls for 45 foot-pounds. Elena, the technicians who did the reinstallation used the new spec. They were following the current manual. But these airframes were designed around the old spec. The extra torque created a slight deformation in the mounting bracket. Not enough to see, but enough to change the vibration damping characteristics. Dr. Chun, so we've been systematically introducing the problem every time we do our job correctly. Elena, exactly. The solution is simple. Reinstall the TADS assemblies on these aircraft using the original torque spec, and add a damping washer to compensate for any dimensional changes from the repair work. Colonel Mitchell, how long to fix? CWO Davis, if we start now, we can have all 3 birds modified and test flown by tomorrow afternoon. Colonel Mitchell, standing, do it. And update the technical manuals. I don't want this happening to any other aircraft in the fleet. The room erupts in conversation as people rush to their tasks. Colonel Mitchell approaches Elena. Colonel Mitchell, Thoentide, 8 years out. And you spotted something a dozen engineers missed. Elena, they were looking at the trees, sir. I just looked at the forest. It helps that I've felt what these birds do when they're not happy. You can't get that from a manual. Colonel Mitchell, we could use someone like you. Back on active duty or even as a contractor. The Army's not the same without people who actually know how to fly and fight these things. Elena, smiling, I appreciate that, Colonel, but I've got my own missions now. Search and rescue, medical transports, people who need help in places helicopters can barely reach. It's different from combat, but it matters just as much. Colonel Mitchell, I understand. But if you ever change your mind, Elena, you'll be the first call I make. Elena stands on the tarmac, watching as one of the repaired Apaches lifts off for a test flight. Major Peterson is at the controls. She shades her eyes against the sun, a satisfied smile on her face. CWO Davis approaches. CWO Davis first Elena test run is perfect. CWO Davis, calibration holding steady really all maneuvers. What made you think Elena about harmonics and mounting brackets? That's what I wanted to hear when everyone else was focused on CWO Davis, can I ask you? Elena watches the Apache perform a graceful turn in the distance. Elena, because I remember a night mission over Fallujah in 2007. We were taking fire, maneuvering hard, and I felt something wrong. Not a warning light, not an alarm. Just wrong. A vibration in the controls that shouldn't have been there. When we landed, I found a single loose bolt in the tail rotor assembly. One bolt. If it had come out completely, we'd have lost the tail rotor and crashed. She turns to face Davis. Elena, Antide, these birds talk to you, Chief, but you have to listen. Not just with instruments and computers. With your hands, your gut, your experience. That's what combat teaches you. And that's what no amount of engineering degrees can replace. CWO Davis, nodding slowly. I'll remember that. Elena, good. Because the next time something weird happens, the answer might not be in the manual. Elena sits in a small regional airport, waiting for her connection. Her phone rings. It's an Alabama number. Elena Rodriguez. Major Peterson, VO. Filtered, ma'am. It's Major Peterson. Just wanted to let you know, all 12 birds are fixed and flight certified. The squadron's deploying on schedule. You saved our deployment. Elena, smiling. I just pointed you in the right direction, Major. Your maintenance team did the real work. Major Peterson, VO, well, we're calling it the Rodriguez fix in the squadron. It's going into the lesson learned database. Elena, laughing, great. My legacy is a torque specification. Major Peterson, VO, it's more than that, ma'am. You reminded us that experience matters. That combat pilots see things desk jockeys don't. Elena, take care of those birds, Major, and the pilots who fly them. Major Peterson, VO, will do. Safe travels, CW5. Elena hangs up, staring out at the tarmac where a small helicopter is being prepped for flight, her ride home. She picks up her flight bag and heads for the door. Elena's civilian helicopter flies over stunning mountain terrain as the sun sets. Inside the cockpit, she's relaxed, confident, at peace. Elena, VO, people ask me if I miss it. The military, the combat, the big machines. Truth is, I don't miss the war. But I miss the mission, the feeling that what you do matters. That your skills save lives. The helicopter banks gracefully around a peak. Elena, VO, Soentide, lucky for me, I found that same mission again, just in a different uniform, or no uniform at all. Title card. The Rodriguez fix was incorporated into U.S. Army technical manuals and prevented similar failures across the Apache fleet. Elena Rodriguez continues to fly search and rescue missions in Montana, where her skills save lives in some of the most challenging terrain in America.